The idea of making a film about the 808 came after or during a lunch that I was having with Arthur Baker at the end of 2011. I had just finished my previous feature, which was completely different because it was about the New York art scene. We met up to talk about completely different ideas that he had, that he wanted to discuss. And once we were done discussing those, we started to talk about music, talk about, you know, the tracks we like, talk about the 808 more specifically, and the machine, and how we can't get a hold of it, and so on. And I just had a light bulb moment. It's like, that would make a cool documentary because of the attachment there is to it. And I went back to the office and spoke to Alexander Dunn. I told him, you know, maybe that's what we should look into as our new film. His eyes lit up, and well, he stepped up to direct it. So, you know, it just kind of, it was a very logical process where everybody were like, yeah, obviously, that feels good. That should be done. It hadn't been done. You know, you had like short ones. You had a lot of little snippet of how much people love the 808, but you haven't had a comprehensive statement about the 808. So, you know, we decided to embark on it. Otherwise, the inspiration came from the fact that we were all music fans, and all our various backgrounds still somehow led to the 808. It led to 808-driven music, you know, whether we were into hip-hop, you know, or drum and bass, or house music, or of course Arthur with his own creations. We all had a different angle, and that's why we realized that it's a very unifying topic. The main purpose of this film is not, for example, to be an encyclopedia of the 808. We're not saying everything, but what we want to bring is an awareness, especially to the younger generation, of where that sound comes from. That legacy that is in everything, that resonates into everything that they're listening to. You know, the 808 still gets name dropped. Of course, people remember Kanye's album, 808s and Heartbreaks, and so on. But the fact is that, you know, it's time for a proper cultural movement, and that's what the film is there to trigger, you know. Working with Atlantic Records on it now means that we can expand that, you know, launch a proper soundtrack, you know, look at various other happenings, events, all kinds of stuff that to just galvanize the crowds about the 808 sounds. No matter what you listen to, you're probably coming from the 808. We got introduced to Atlantic Records through Arthur Baker, and the conversation was pretty organic, actually. Greg Kalman is the CEO of Atlantic Records, and he has a background as a radio DJ. He came and integrated his label Big Beat into Atlantic Records, and Greg Kalman has a record collection that defies reason, and you know, the 808 as a story is something that they felt really was part of their story, and they didn't want to just join in by helping out with a bit. They wanted to be producing with us. So we had already done most of the filming, but they came on, stepped up, and, you know, embraced the story as well, and backed us for the music. It's a difficult subject. Most people know that it's difficult to handle music on projects like that, and having a partner that is both passionate and knowledgeable is obviously something we as independent producer, we welcome that. Obviously, beyond the film, it's important to continue the experience, and, you know, we tell the tale. It's a nice curated feel as to the 808 legacy and the path it followed, and a big reveal as to why it, you know, disappeared so early and lived on through all those technologies. We developed this film as a film you can listen to, not just watch it. You can dip in and out and just get back into that tune and so on. So that's why, you know, it was important to as well have a companion soundtrack. And that's also one of the reasons that, you know, Atlantic and Big Beat stepped up to, because they see that it's not just having a soundtrack because we need to have a soundtrack. It's a companion soundtrack. It needs to work with the film, expand the experience, something that you can carry with you. There's going to be surprises in it beyond some, you know, of the amazing original track that we feature in the film. So, you know, we're super excited. There's going to be some big announcement to that, and there's not much I can give away, but I can tell you that it's not just going to be linear. It's going to be full of surprises. The great thing is we've had a lot of excitement coming since we showed first at South by. So, you know, once in a while we have things to reconsider and new opportunities coming up. And, you know, the great thing about documentary filmmaking, especially as an independent, is that we kind of go without knowing necessarily where it's going to end up. And we can adapt when new opportunities come up. And that's where we are. We're in an exciting period, but we have our eyes on the goal. Second half of the summer, loads of surprises, loads of reveals, and a combination for a 360-degree experience around the 808. Making a project over 3 years is a journey. It's a long journey. It's a committed journey. You know, especially when you're independent, you have limited resources, so you have to nip in and out of your project to go also try to make some money on the side, go sell an ad or something that, okay, well, now we're good, we got rent and everything covered, we can get back into it. But then what the key moments were being at the right place at the right time. And with that, we had very intense experiences in Miami and LA, in New York, where we all of a sudden had a sequence of interviews that were building up that story for us. So in many ways, discovery was constant, because the first time we went to Miami in 2012, it was first to figure out if we had a film. Is that a crazy idea? It's like most film, it's all well and good as an idea, but to know it, whether it's a film, you got to commit something. And so that's why we went there. And this is when I started to hear, those early interviews were very key. Tom Silverman, Jelly Bean Benitez, Questlove, telling us about their own experience, the label building of Tom Silverman, and then, Jelly Bean as a DJ who was, obviously a super, a big influencer. And then you mix that with Questlove, who relates to as far back as beat composers in organs. Those were all discoveries for us, because no matter how much we knew the music we listened to and the music we appreciated, that was something we had to catch up with. That went on. Every time we got a batch of interviews, we had a new perspective, a new origin. We went through, different countries as well, because we came back to Europe, we shot in England, we shot even in Finland, we shot in Belgium, and everybody had a different sort of route. And it's so funny how the seldom stories that led people to meet an 808 or encounter an 808 in their career was, that in itself was mind-blowing for all of us.
And I'm glad that I've been documenting footage since around 91, 92, even with the old 8mm tapes and all that. We've been just recording and filming our journey, because I was always just a filmaholic. I was always just film, which now I'm glad I've been doing it, because we have hundreds of tapes.
They gave us a closet, literally, like a little corner. And it was a table, and it was our computer. And our whole thing, man, me and Coast was just like, hey, man, we ain't leaving here without getting the placement, man. And that's when we made Made to Love. That's when we put, the Chicago Deep House.
I place no importance on BET Awards or MTV or The Source or Double XL or any outlet that is supposed to validate me as an artist.
We have to teach young people that they can actually be, quote, artists. They can make a better living, in many cases, being an artist. What needs to really be taught within these programs is the notion of hustling.